my beautiful community. I am your Sister Spade, and this is the Apprentice, the official spinoff of the Mentors Table, which will be coming back this February 2021. I'm super excited to be back here with you. It's been a very rough year. This 2020 has been unprecedented. We had no idea all of these things were going to change. So I'm super excited to be here with you. I'm super excited to be sharing this outlet with you. And also I'm super excited to be sharing the information that we're going to be talking about. Today we're going to be going over some voting information. I'm going to go over the ballots, and then also I'm just going to go over some of the stigmas that have been attached to voting. You know, it's been really hard for us here in the United States of America to kind of get everyone on one accord, which will probably never happen, and that's okay, because the most beautiful thing I want to say about a human is that we do have our own opinions. And I think that journey and learning how to express your opinions, how to fine-tune them, how to change them, you know, based off of how you feel, what you're experiencing, and what you learn is a really good exercise that we can do here in our country that a lot of people can't necessarily do. So voting in this time and age has changed, of course, because of COVID. We have a couple of different options, but nonetheless, there are different candidates that we get to see that are on the ballot this year, and I think that's something that's really special. You know, it is starting to be more diversified, and the options are starting are starting to broaden. Excuse me, but you know, we have more options coming, and that's super you know, important that we continue to initiate the process of putting more people in there so we have more options. I've heard a lot of people during this time just not very happy, and I guess it kind of is every time that we vote. I always get to see a lot of people come out and, you know, put on their anger or put on their protest, or they put on whatever it is that they're trying to do, but nonetheless they're not educating themselves, they're not educating anyone else. It's just a lot of opinionated factors going in and out of people's ears, minds, and attention. So it's just this right here is my contribution in trying to enlighten myself really about what's going on, because I didn't vote all the time, and I know the reason why is because I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't understand what I was impacting by doing such. And also, it was just kind of like a taboo that was around in my my neighborhood, or how when I was raised, a lot of people would just say that my vote didn't count. So I was just like, damn, maybe it doesn't, you know. So now here in this time and age, I get to shatter those stigmas. I'm super excited to see that yes, my vote does count. Yes, our community can make changes when we put new propositions up for the ballot. So I'm going to go over all of the propositions that are here in Southern California. As you know, or if you don't know, this is a really cool thing. Every single state will have different propositions. And if you stay tuned towards the end, I have those propositions that I personally think that we should be, taking care of in our prospective states. So, you know, there's some crazy stuff going on as far as the U.S. is concerned. You know, there's a lot of movement towards racial justice because there is a lot of injustice. And in this voting period for your propositions, you got to pay attention. There's some things that are in there that are specifying clauses that are contradictory to our country's philosophies of unity and of justice for all, you know. So you have to take out, there are different stanzas, there's different language that's in there that is abusive, and then also it has prejudice in it. So make sure you get out to the voting ballot. And if you haven't, then there are different options. Like I was saying earlier, for COVID, you can mail in your ballot, you can drop it off, or you can still go to the voting post. So today is the official last day of early voting, and today I'm gonna vote. I'm super excited, so that's why I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to do this earlier, but I decided not to because there's so much energy being put out right now. I really just kind of want to be a factor of enlightenment. Like I said, this isn't to sway anybody's perspective. This isn't to get anybody to do what it is I'm saying to do on their own voting ballot. So please, like I said, this is a very cool, opportune time just to go over all the things that are on the Southern California voting ballot and kind of get a perspective of how you personally can get engaged if you haven't. If this is your first time voting, congratulations. If you haven't voted in a really long time and this seemed like a really good opportunity to get back into the reins, congratulations as well. So this is really great. I'm super excited for you as much as I am as sharing some information. And as you already know, I don't know everything. So you as a viewer, this is how we learn to educate ourselves on these devices. It's the opportune time to put a comment or to hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, Amunet Community Chat. You can talk to me on either one of those outlets and giving me some information about what's going on in your area in, the U.S., because this is really important for us to bring our country together. So the first thing I just want to kind of start off is, why should we vote this year and the following years, and to be more proactive with voting? Just foreshadowing this lovely little question, I've already told you that, we've seen a difference from when we started to see people actually fighting for voting rights. Not only African Americans, women also have had a suffrage movement into getting these rights. So that's a problem right now in our states, is that we do have a mental stigma of thinking that one dignified person or one dignified category is inept to do things. We're humans. We're human beings. And I really feel that America is kind of, we're behind in understanding those essences, that just because skin color, we can pass, laws, or we can pass stipulations that hurt or harm other people. So with this being said, with the 2020 election coming up, of course, if you haven't voted, and there's like a mass of people who still haven't voted, yeah, we're going to be missing out on that willpower of getting the delegated states the things that they need. So when you look at your propositions, those are the things that show you what your city or your municipality is going towards for the ballot. Yes, it is so true. As far as the Electoral College is concerned, that was something that I was really confused on, as to why people would say that our vote wouldn't count. It's because of the Electoral College. So I'm gonna kind of like read that off of my phone, so anybody who doesn't understand what that is kind of gets a gist. How does the Electoral College work? The Electoral College is an anomaly in the American voting system. In almost every case, voters directly elect a candidate, such as a governor or a U.S. senator. So that's what you're going to see on the ballot. Senator. I said senator. Don't make fun of me. But in a presidential election, voters are selecting delegates or electors to the Electoral College. So when you're going to go and you get to vote, I'm going to show you mine. I haven't filled this out yet. If you haven't seen what a voting ballot looks like, this is it. It's a pretty long piece of paper. It has a lot of information on it, but it's pretty straight to it. It's straight to the point. And what you'll see is that everyone will have the same thing in common as far as to who they get to vote for the president, the vice president, and I want to say the state representatives are also going to differ, because of course, yeah, it depends on what city and what state you're going to be in. That's what's going to happen. So you're going to have someone else that you're going for. For us, we have Alan Lowenthal, John Brusco, sorry if I messed up your name, Josh Newman for the state senator, and Ling Ling Chan going against him. Actually, she replaced him in office, but that's going to be a little bit later that we kind of discuss that, actually, in part 2. So part 2, we're going to be talking about the presidential debates, and then also some of the actual individuals by motive. But nonetheless, these are the things that you're going to see again. That's going to be the same, and then it starts to differ when it comes to your representative. Okay, so it's not too scary. What's scary is when you don't do your research. So this part right here is, if you just come in and just put whatever it is that's on there, then you can mess up. You're kind of discontinuing the people that are in your area from their resources. You know what I'm saying? So for the presidential election, most states operate on a winner-takes-all basis. That is, the popular vote determines which candidate wins the entire roster of a state's electors. The electors, that's a big word, who are generally, that's a lot to say, appointed by their state's political parties, then meet on the first Monday after the second Wednesday of December to cast ballots for the president and vice president. The results announced on election night are unofficial until the Electoral College meets this year, and that's December 14th. So, all of this is taking place during these votes, and that's the reason why it takes a little while for all the votes to be counted, because it's coming in from so many different sources, and then also there's different ballots that are being taken for the presidential election from the Electoral College. So each state that's the reason why they call it the red and blue. I didn't understand that because it was so weird to me. It's like, how are you going to have different candidates on the ballot? On the ballot. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous and tongue twisted, but bear with me. You'll be okay. Something to laugh. But it just was so weird to me that there were other people that could have run for president, but every time that I saw the elections, it was just red and blue and all this weird stuff going on. So, that's another episode. That's episode 3. Just to let you guys know, it's a lot of information to cover when you are talking about politics, when you are trying to get into voting and, exercising your right to use your voice. But it is so important to learn these things together so we can continue to thrive as a community and as a country. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want the same things happening over and over and over again like this. For years now. We've been kind of just letting it go for it to just be black and white, blue and red, So it's just like, man, there are different options. And when you get to see how it is that you exercise those options of your own, you get to see change. So I think that is one of the most important things about this election and why we should vote. Tying up my first question is change. The things that you don't want to do, get up and do those things. So back to this right here, we're going to go into the propositions. The propositions for each state, like I said, it differs. You're going to have different things that are on your props. For this, we have a lot. We got 24. No, it's 15 through 24. 15 through 24. And that's another thing that's really weird. 14 through 24. Messed up. 14 through 24. There isn't a specific order. That's something that kind of used to terrify me when I looked at this. I'm like, what is all of this stuff? Where does it go? But basically everything is cataloged, for our law system. And the propositions, these right here, they're not necessarily, the order that they come in is the order that they're submitted. So different council people or council chambers will put up these different propositions. They'll raise money, they'll raise influence, and they'll also raise, just the expectation of what it is that they're trying to do with this. So I never really understood this part, and I'm still kind of dodgy about it. So if you understand how this works, getting things submitted into the authorities for us to get it on the ballot, then that would be awesome. Let us know. But for now, I'm going to keep on going. So, I wanted to go into the propositions, but before I did that, I wanted to make sure I had them all. We got a lot of them. That's crazy. But some people only have 2. Some people only have 3 or 4. And they're not necessarily called propositions for everyone. I learned that when I was looking up into different states. Some of them can be carrying different names as far as what they are. So they can be amendments. I've seen amendments. I've seen propositions, of course. I've seen, most of them. Another one is an amendment. That one is big. If you see something that says that it's an amendment on a bill, that's something that is like the document, your amendments. So those are the ones that I was talking about earlier that have, some context in it that needs to either be removed or replaced so our country can be justified. I guess you can say justified for all of the people who are here. Nonetheless, the vernacular is still only targeted towards black and white, and it's so weird to me because America is so much more than black and white, and also there are so many more people who were impacted from some of the slights from when our country was emancipated. But that's another one entirely as well. So let's get into these propositions. Proposition 14 is for stem cell research. They want to give $55 billion generally in obligated bonds for stem cell research and the institutions to build them here in California. So I guess the reason why is because they ran out of money. They already had this, and apparently I've done my research. There are a lot of the facilities that have not been conducting business very well, and they've been left. So I don't know about everyone else and how they feel about the stem cell research proposition. I don't even know if that's 100% true. I don't know what a stem cell research building looks like. But I have seen that, I guess you can say both good and bad things come from stem cell research. But I don't think there needs to be so much money and so much time put into just that when, there was a proposition that was not passed, which was 13. And that was money that was supposed to go towards the schools. So it's just kind of mind-boggling for me when I see that there's a lot of attention put into a certain area for, specific reasons that only help those who are, benefiting because they're selling the product to us for it. Education has been really, really, really put on a back burner, and it's not good, so I'm wondering why the 13 didn't get passed. So things like this is the reason why we have to vote and we have to come back out, because you can bring that proposition back for it to be considered for the next voting period. But for this one, Proposition 14, it's up to you. Toss it up in the air. Figure out how you feel about stem cell research, and if you think $55 billion is supposed to go to them in building their stuff. They're saying that $1.5 billion is supposed to go to therapies, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, people with these type of conditions. It's supposed to go into their treatments and dementia. 15% is supposed to go into the economy, to actually erect the care centers, and that's where I was like, okay, if they already have centers and they're not using them, why do we need to, make more? But there we go. That's that. That's Proposition 14. And nonetheless, I want you guys to know you can go to different resources online to find these things. Where I found this stuff is called ballotpedia.com, and it is extremely resourceful. I love it. It breaks down everything. It gives you all of the propositions for every single state. It tells you about every single person who's running, and it gives you other links to other places if you want to support certain things. So make sure you take a look at Ballotpedia. Alright, so Proposition 15. Tax on commercial and industrial properties for education and local government funding initiative. So this is the type of proposition this is. This is another cool factor, is that it kind of breaks down into what type of proposition it is. And it shows you where it's going to be impacted or affected in our bylaws. So there are different kinds. You have the Constitution. I really don't know all of them while I'm playing around. You have your human rights. You have so many things. Like, look, I'm doing a Trump right now. There's so many, and it's wonderful. But I'm going to be real with you. I need to brush up on my history class, but this is where I start. But nonetheless, this is going to affect the constitutional amendment, okay? So it's important. But Proposition 15, it supports the constitutional amendment to require commercial and industrial properties, except those zoned as commercial agriculture, to be taxed based on their market value rather than their purchase price. So I don't know how you feel about that as an individual. It kind of seems like it only impacts those who have the commercial residencies now. or they're doing things now. But you never know when you can move into these things with what it is that you're doing. You might need a commercial space, or you might need something later down the line here in Southern California, and you want to be able to assess your budget and be able to make that work for you, instead of it's something that's hindering you because you can't bring in the funds. But Proposition 15, they're talking about taxing us, unless of course it's something for agriculture. How do you feel about it? Toss it up, figure it out. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what I actually voted on. I was thinking about it, but I'm going to let everyone figure out, like I said, for their own. I really do encourage everyone to go and do their research. Do their research and figure out what it is that they want to do, for the betterment of the society. Proposition 16. This one right here is the opportunity for all coalition to repeal Proposition 209, which is about affirmative action. So this right here is going to be in the constitutional amendments. This is what it's going to impact. And Proposition 209. So basically this is one that was already passed before, so they're trying to repeal it. This right here really kind of upset me because there's a lot of stuff that's going on right here. It states that the government and public institutions cannot, or actually that they can discriminate against a grant preferential treatment to the prisons based on people's race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, and public contracting. So as I was stating before, there's a lot of things that are already here that have been passed that are just like completely prejudiced, and we have to make sure that we take care of these propositions. Take a look at this one right here: repeal the action of looking or to take it out. So right here is we're saying that we want to take it away. The fact that we do want to be able to discriminate against race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. Why that's on the ballot, I really don't understand. Yeah. Again, something you have to look into. So you got to be really careful. Also, because the third thing that I was really scared of about voting is the way that they word things. There's absolutely no reason to have it so jumbled and so, abstract and backwards. It's just like, which is it? You can or you can't. Listen to this one more time. Proposition 209, which stated the government and public institution can't discriminate against a grant preferential treatment. So you personally have to see what it is that they're doing. They're trying to repeal it. So that means repealing this amendment, which says that you can't, it means that you now can if it does pass. So that stuff like stuff like that irritates me. Just be straightforward, a little more straightforward with it, instead of trying to do all the extra stuff. But how do you feel about that? And also, the things that we have to take into consideration as when we're going into the ballots, we think it doesn't affect us, but it really does. What happens when they can, which they still already have, but they legally can take different standpoints against people is the question. All right, so you also, have the time to go and look. If you haven't done so, I really do suggest to go to Ballotpedia and any other different Googled resources to see how they feel or they objectify it. And nonetheless, if you feel like you have more information about this, please let me know so I can understand it, a little bit better as well. All right, so Proposition 17, voting rights restoration for persons of people from parole. So this right here is going to be on the constitutional amendment as well. This right here is an awesome opportunity to see how people feel. As far, voting restoration for persons on parole amendment. Yeah, I thought so. There's going to be two of them on here, actually, on the ballot for different voting rights. One is going to be for the people who are on parole, and then the other one, I want to say, for us, California is going to be the first people to try to get 17-year-olds to vote. So don't get those two mixed up. Take a look at those, because I know it said Proposition 17, so it kind of threw me off. I'm like, hold on, which one is this? So there are two of them, and make sure that you vote for what it is that you want. But what are, the pros and cons of people who are on parole being able to help us, get into the voting ballots? I'm not sure. I have my own, you know, a, you know, opinion. I don't want to call it an opinion. I have my own take on how this can impact us. But also I can see another person's point of view as well, saying that, it could be different. So, Proposition 17, take a little view of that and tell me how you feel. I wrote that down. All right, Proposition 18. This is the one I thought it was. Primary voting for 17-year-olds. This one is awesome. I really agree with this one. Being able to have people who are 17 years of age be able to vote. I think the earlier the better, honestly. We should be able to vote at 16. But, they got it at 18 or whatever. We don't learn how to vote, and that's a problem. That's kind of another reason why I'm doing this here. If you're a little bit younger, there are other voting tutorials also out here on Google. Look us up. Look the things, the resources that you need up so you can be informed and you can be confident when you go to poll. But Proposition 18, how you feel? I told you I wasn't going to tell you how I feel about it as far as what I said, but I like it. I like it a lot. I wish that I had the opportunity to vote, especially. I want to say that I couldn't vote for the first Obama election. Yeah, I couldn't vote for that one. So I was 17. I knew a little something. But yeah, as long as I feel that people are taking the time to figure out what it is, because I feel people aren't even really educated themselves on how this stuff works, and they're old enough to vote. So those people who are really interested in it and they're so young, that's the best. It's something that means something to you. Yeah, I'm with it. All right, so Proposition 19. This one is going to be talking about property tax, transfers, and expectations of revenue for wildfire agencies and the country's amendment. So this is a constitutional amendment that's going to the state legislature, I guess. But this one right here supports the constitutional amendment to allow eligible non-home owners to transfer their tax assessments anywhere within the states and allow their assessments to be transferred to a more expensive home with an upward adjustment. So, this increases the number of times that a person over 55 years would serve disabilities or with severe disabilities can transfer their tax assessments 1 to 3 times. See, this is one for me personally where I'm like, this doesn't affect me, but then again, I'm gonna get older. So there are things that I was kind of like up in the air about. I have to do a lot of research to understand this. This is also kind of like worded funny to me. Property tax transfers, those people who do own property right now, this is something that's really important for you to look at if you have elderly or people who have served in the military or who have severe conditions. This is actually a really big thing for that. I'm really thankful that I don't have any elders that I have to take care of, but I have had that come up in my family for our elders and their children and my uncles and my aunts, them having to take care of them and looking at what they need to do to financially be healthy, going down the road is something that I don't think a lot of us think of. So this right here, Proposition 19, we definitely have to take a look at it for ourselves, and see what it is that, what we think about it. But there's a few more. Don't think we're done. That was just a few of them. We have a few more to go. And then I guess we'll be done. How do you feel so far about it, about this whole voting thing? How am I doing? I know I'm a little crazy and all over the place. But that's me, and I love it. This right here is Proposition 20. Let's get into it. Law enforcement, man. Law enforcement. We got a lot of things going on here in California. Me personally, I've been impacted. I've been impacted in different ways. Discrimination from my skin color, discrimination from, me being a woman. There's a lot of stuff going on in my personal city. I don't know if people, I don't even want to call it out because I want to see better for my community. So this proposition for me, 20, is pretty important actually, because it makes changes to the policies related to criminal sentencing charges, and prison release information, or the purposes of the prison release and DNA collection. So I guess what it is like when you're going into these things, as far as if you get arrested, when they're taking you in, they can get your DNA collection. I guess they haven't been able to do that. I'm not sure. But personally, I've had a lot of vandalism to my car, to my apartment, to myself. There's a lot of prostitution going on a lot, around here in this area. So it affects me. It affects me a lot. I've been targeted in different types of ways that have been very dangerous. And it's something that I would never want anyone to really go through. And I don't think that's something that a lot of people think about, is how it impacts you, just because you're wanting to be some type of, free vigilante type spirit. There's nothing wrong with that. But nonetheless, you have to think about who you're impacting too. And don't get pissed off when people try to fight you back on trying to keep their community or their home safe. Here in our country, we have a lot of people who are suppressing the amenities, the resources, and the opportunities that they can have to get afford, to go forward. And, it's really hard for us to, figure out what it is that we can do to, make that situation better. So I can see a lot of people going to drug dealing, going to prostitution, going to selling pills, going to, robbing people and doing stuff that they really shouldn't be doing, but it doesn't make it right. This is the reason why I feel like voting is so important, is so we can go in and we can make the feasible changes in us getting more opportunities, in us being better as a people in our country, not just black, not just white, but for everybody. We all need to learn how to work with each other. We all need to learn how to understand each other and to communicate with one another. So Proposition 20, again, it supports the initiative to add crimes to the list of violent felonies instead of just misdemeanors. They just get let go, for which early parole restricted, which is what I was saying, I guess. So this categorizes types of theft, fraud, robbery, wobblers, I don't know what a wobbler is, as misdemeanors or felonies, instead of, like I said, just a slap on the wrist. They get to go and they get, nothing. Like, I just had a window broken or busted out my car, and I had to pay for that. And the police is telling me they can't do anything. They're like, oh, this is just a misdemeanor. This is just, what did he say? Vandalism. He busted my damn window. Crazy. Alright, 21. How you feel about 20? You know how I feel a little. Alright, so 21 expands local government power to use rent control. Lord have mercy. When I say the rent out here is a hot mess, I just found out, what was it, about a month ago, I was doing some research for a project. It is 3 times the amount of the regular rent for the country. So it is super, super costly to live here. And it is super, super annoying to try to find a place that is in the budget of a regular human capacity. Ugh. Rent control? I don't even want to go there. But I want to go there. Y'all gotta vote on this one. I'm upset. 21. 22! Oh, hold up. Did I go over everything? Oh, hold on. That's how upset I am. I'm just gonna ugh. Okay, hold on. So 21 supports this ballot to allow local governments to enact rent control on housing that was first occupied over 15 years ago. Still, again, this isn't anything immediate. Wow, I was getting so mad. But anyway, with an exception for landlords who own no more than 2 homes with distinct titles or subdivided interests. So I guess that's like, your holiday vacation homes, which is a lot, of those out here. A lot of people come, once they earn, the amount of income that they would like, they come out here and they get rental properties, vacation properties, the Airbnbs that you see. You can get amazing places out here. Those are people who I guess this is also going to affect. But nonetheless, like I said, you never want to take yourself out of any situation, even if it doesn't affect you right now, doesn't mean that it won't later down the road. All right, so that's Proposition 21. Let's get into Proposition 22. So Proposition 22 considers app-based drivers to be independent contractors and enacts several labor policies related to app-based companies. So this one right here is super, super duper important here in California because a lot of people are self-contractors. A lot of people are entrepreneurs. A lot of people have to get supplemental income because, like I was saying, it is extremely, extremely expensive to live in Southern California, Northern California, any California, okay? So, being able to claim this, the expenses of getting your car fixed, being able to put your gas mileage up, for your tax returns is all amazing things because if you don't drive a car, then you would know there's a lot of maintenance going into, utilizing your car so much. The more you drive, the more you have to take care of it. So Proposition 22, I feel really good about. I think a lot of people are about to come out here and support this prop. There's been a lot of exposure about it, and, I think a lot of people know that the majority are drivers, or majority are dashers, or, food deliverers. So I feel a lot of people are going to be out for our polls this year, which is awesome. All right, so Proposition 23, this one covers healthcare, and it requires a physician on site at a dialysis, at dialysis clinics, and, Jesus, I can't read my handwriting. I'm going crazy. Requires physician on site of dialysis clinics and consent from the state for a clinic to close. So this is super, uber duper important. This is some weird stuff, when you see those movies and you see all those crazy things about these hospitals taking advantage of people or, conducting experiments because nobody's paying attention, it's real, clearly, because it's here on the ballot this year. I personally feel that elderly are very, 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 ignored in our country. I feel like we don't do enough for the vets and we don't do enough for the elderly. I think they're ignored. I really do. There's a lot of things that happens. And those people who are kind of like single people or don't have a family for real and they go into the hospital, they can also, get taken advantage of really easily. Especially imagine if you're on dialysis or if you go into the hospital and you're out of consciousness. You don't even know what's going on. You don't have anyone there. There's so many things that can happen, and I feel that there aren't a lot of laws that are there to protect the people. There's a lot of things about insurance. There's a lot of things about the bylaws as far as, how the hospital is supposed to, submit their forms so they can get the medication and be able to write the prescriptions, but nothing really protects the individual. You know what I'm saying? As far as to when they go into the room and they're receiving the services, all sorts of things can happen. So this right here is definitely something that I feel is pretty important, that it requires the physician to be on site and, for the state to have some type, I think it said here, let me look. So they have to obtain consent from the state health department before closing a clinic, and to not discriminate against parents based on the source of their payment for their care. So this is really good. I feel good about this one and making it a thing because it should have been one already. But yeah, man, how do you feel? How do you feel? Have you ever had to go to the hospital? Have you ever been in that predicament where you just woke up, you didn't know where the heck you were? That's scary, So, like, what would you do and what would you suggest in this situation? That's Proposition 23. All right, so Proposition 24 expands the provisions of the California Consumer Privacy Act and creates the California Privacy Protection Agency to implement and enforce CCPA. Another one that's kind of like, what? Because who is CCPA? I still don't think I put that down. I'm sorry. So that's something you're going to have to look up. But, it's kind of like the privacy protection of wada and for wada voodoo. But this one, it says that it supports initiatives to expand the state's consumer data policy privacy laws. So all of the times that you see all of this information that you know you didn't let go, and people or some type of company has it, they've been calling your phone like, hey, you want this health insurance, you want, can I sell you a home, all sorts of stuff. You get these weird unsolicited calls to your phone. That's because the data has been sold from some type of program that you already own. So this right here, I feel, is really good. That it helps to kind of keep responsibility where it needs to be. But to finish, it allows customers in the direct business not to have those misdemeanors and to not share their personal information. Sorry, my voice and my throat just. But yeah, basically that's what it's about. It says that the businesses are not allowed to share personal information, and that they would have to fix the violations before being penalized, and to create the privacy protection agency. So I guess that's what the CCPA, privacy protection. I don't know, it's backwards. To enforce the state's consumer data privacy laws. Got through that one. That was painful. But yeah, technology has never been my thing. I don't care too much for technology, but I really appreciate it. I appreciate being able to talk to you here on this, being able to record on my other sources at different times, post, look up stuff, write. It's a wonderful thing to be able to have these things, but it does come with a responsibility. And, it's not nice when, like I said, we were already talking about that earlier today, as far as the propositions are concerned, and making sure that people are not hurting others when they're doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with anyone hustling. Like, get your money, do something, but be creative about it. Don't hurt people. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. Alright, but yeah. 25. We made it, man. Alright. So this one is another one that pissed me off. What the hell? Okay, first of all. Second of all, what are we gonna do? Proposition 25 replaces cash bail with risk assessments for suspects awaiting trial. So I understand that everybody isn't a criminal. You don't have to be a criminal to go to jail. You could just have a mistake or a slip up before to be put in that predicament. And to not have that opportunity to get your life together before you go into court, to go and say A, B, and C to your family, your friends, your community, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, that is crazy. I was already talking about it earlier about how it's kind of hard for people who are single, who are older, who don't really have that support right now. We need to protect those people instead of take advantage of them. And this is definitely a proposition that I feel takes advantage of our citizens. This is not something that's okay. Now, if it's someone who is of high destruction or, real dangerous to our city and our communities, that's why we have police. You need to make sure that you are putting out, those type of restrictions to that person. If they've killed somebody, or if they're out here, as a national threat, that, then take those precautions for those people and make sure that they are, being surveillanced or whatever until they come back to court, to make sure that they come back to court. But for the regular person, you can have like a whole bunch of driving misdemeanors or tickets, or be jaywalking drunk in Long Beach, and no, you want to be able to take care of yourself. And I feel like some of these propositions that they put on here is just ludicrous. But this one in specific, for it to be 2020, to even be looking at stuff like this personally, it's just like, man, the people who even pass this is like, what happens when you personally get caught up, and you got to go into prison, like, before you go there, before while you in jail, I'm pretty sure you would like to be able to see a family, take care of your business. But yeah, how do you feel about this Proposition 25? We went over a lot. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this is really more so for, for me, and expanding my position and learning more about politics. It was just something fun. Very, very first time coming back. Like I said, you're gonna have to excuse the tongue-tiedness. You're gonna have to excuse my, horrible handwriting. I got horrible handwriting. I handwritten these notes because a sister is not about to be putting out ink for nothing. All right, those printer ink injectors are expensive, and I got a lot of printing to do. Okay, but I hope, like I said, I hope this at least us going over it together. I hope that kind of lifted the situation. It's fun. It can be fun. You can go over it with me. Get your ballots out while you're going over this or listening to this and look at it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Go over the propositions with me and see what it is that you feel about it. Question, comment, concern. Like I said, this is one of 3 videos. We're going to be going over the presidential debates in the third one. And in the second one, we're going to be going over the actual people. So we're going to be talking about, I'm actually going to split it. We're going to be talking about the other states' prepositions that are going on right now that we can get into so we can all understand how it differs. That's how I'm going to break it down. So this is part 1 of 2. So the second one, you're going to see more information about the other states in our country and what they're going to be voting on and what I feel is like a red flag or like, hey, get out there and get involved. But this is for Southern California. And I just want to encourage every single person out here, like I said, to get out, use your voice, use your right to vote, and learn as much as you can so this can be something that is fun, that you're looking forward to every year, and then also you can create more opportunities for the people who are around you and for the people who are possibly looking to engage in politics. You never know, even you yourself could make a change. If you're someone who's really good at public speaking, you're really good with involving yourself with other people, this is the opportunity to get yourself ready, so you can be someone that makes the changes that you wish to see. I hear so many people, like I said, so many people are upset, so many people are confused. Get your kids engaged. Tell them, communicate with them, show them different things so they can start to say, hey, yeah, maybe I can be the governor, or hey, maybe I can be the president, or whatever it is that you want to do. Make that change. Do it on paper because they clearly have this on paper. And it, like I said, some of these laws are just ludicrous. The fact that it was even allowed, it just kind of, So, as I said, everyone has their own position to voting, and I hope that it isn't discourageable, but it's something that motivates you to go out and to make a change. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Again, this is called the Apprentice Chair. This is the very first episode. You're going to see me progress. You're going to see me get better at this. But as far as now, COVID, you're going to see me in this beautiful cramped space with all sorts of stuff. I'm excited, like I said, to be here, and I'm blessed and I'm honored. So I thank you for watching me, for bearing with me. And like I said, I would like to know your input and how you feel about, some of the propositions that's coming up. Like I said as well, this is the last day of early voting, so make sure that you get out here. I'm about to fill out my ballot and go and drop it off personally. So yeah, I get to see you, I guess, a little bit later. I'll probably do my next video so we can talk about that experience. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Deuces. Oh my gosh, misplaced my stuff. I'm going crazy. Bye, guys.